So now that we have our simple form with our form functionality, let's go through that again. Jim Smith, 12 tickets. And it tells us also if we forget something, it tells us to fill it in until we fill everything in. And it erases our information. Everything works. Now what we're going to do is add one of each kind of element that you can add on a form. For instance, radio buttons, multiple drop-down, checkbox, and also a hidden variable. So here we go. Let's ask our user if he is a smoker or a non-smoker with a radio button. So let's see here. We have first name, last name, number of tickets. First name, last name, number of tickets. So let's put it after that. Display row. So what do we want on the left side? We actually won't need anything on the left side because we'll have the information next to the buttons. So on the right side, though, is a radio button input tag. Two of them. So input type radio name is going to be smoking status, for instance. Value is, first of all, non-smoking. Let's have this one checked first. Assume they're not a non-smoker. So, and that is non-smoking. Let's see how that looks so far. Okay, non-smoking. Now we have to give them another choice in case they're a smoker. BR. Let's just keep on typing here. Input type equals radio name equals smoking status. So the name is the same as the other one. That's how they're paired. So when you click one, the other one is unclicked. But its value is different. It's going to send a different value if it's clicked. This one is smoking. That's the status. Close that and we'll write smoking there. And we won't forget to send the name of the variable. Smoking status. So that should pretty much do it. All right, so now he can choose smoking or non-smoking. Super. So in this lecture, we're just going to deal with how to create them on the form. I'll do the handling in the next lecture. So our next one is going to be a multiple choice box. Let's do, for instance, interests. Their interests that they can type in. So we can get some information on our customers and better serve them, of course. So display row. What are we going to put here? Let's put on the left side your interests. And then comma. This is actually going to get very long, so let's not put it on a line. Let's just call a function here, get interests. That's a nice thing about functions. You can just call with a nice little word here. Let's send our variable name for later, interests, and that should complete the line. So now get interests, we can just go down here and build it. Function get interests. And do our little RS template. Let's do a test and see how we're doing. Right, so your interest on the left and our text here is on the right, so we're ready to go. Now let's build this. And it looks like this. This is a little choice box. So select name equals interests. And here we have to put a PHP notation here to mark this as an array. Because it is multiple, a multiple choice box where they can choose one or more interests. Multiple. Size equals, let's start out with 3. And that ends that line. Then, of course, we have to close it. Super. And then what goes in the middle? Options. So option value equals, let's say, classic. Are they interested in classic music or classic theater? Option. So let's see how we're doing here. Super. Let's do 2 more. Jazz, pop, and look, super. One thing I see here is that this should actually be up at the top, should be aligned at the top. Let's see why that's not the case. That would be in our get box or display row here with the TD. So the reason is here is that we don't specify that it should be at the top. That's what we need to do. We can do that with the little CSS style here. It would look like this, vertical align. top. Let's give it some padding too, just for good measure. Let's see how that looks. Okay, super. That looks better. And let's put it for the column on the right as well. Okay, that looks nice. And so you can see here, this is the kind of box where you can choose one, or if you hold down the shift key, you can choose a range, or with the control key, you can choose individual ones. And PHP will handle this so that when you pass it to the form processing page, it'll pass an array, but you have to remember to put these little brackets in there. So what else do we want to put on a form? How about a classic drop-down? Let's put it right after the multiple drop-down, or the multiple choice here. That would look like, let's see, what can we do for that? Maybe payment. Let's do payment. Display row. Display row. Left side, we'll say payment, and this time it's going to be top aligned, which is nice about having everything in one place. Payment, this is also going to be kind of long. It's basically the same code, so we'll just say get payment as a function and send the name of the variable. Okay, get payment. Let me just copy this whole thing here, get interest, because it's similar. Call it get payment. And basically, we don't need all of this, so we just say payment here. And what kind of payments do we have? We have, let's say, credit card. This is the code that is sent. This is the text here, credit card. We have debit card. That's the code that's sent. This is the text that the user sees, debit card. And we also have the option that they can pay in cash. Let's see how that looks. Okay, why is it above there actually? Because I put it above there. Okay, and that works perfectly. Very nice. We have one left, a checkbox. For instance, let's make the user check a box that says that they accepted the conditions. So they have to check this, all right? So this is just one line, let's just put it here. So, display row, left side, left side, left side. Ooh, do we need anything? No. We'll leave that blank. And here we'll put input type. Now this is a checkbox type. The name is accepted conditions. And the value is yes. So if he checks the box, then the form is going to send a value with the name accepted conditions, or a variable with the name accepted conditions that has a value of yes, which will make it quite clear on the processing side. Okay, so we have the checkbox. Let's just make sure if we have a checkbox here, everything looks fine. And we need a little text. Let's make this text small because I saw we didn't have much space in there. 8 point is always nice. I accept the conditions. It's bad duck. Okay, and nice. So there we have all of the different kinds of form elements that you can have. Here's a text box, here's another text box, radio button, multiple choice, drop down, and a checkbox. These are all the ones that you can see, but there's another kind called a hidden that we can put in as well. Let's say in our example here of a form for allowing users to order tickets online, let's say we have a number of sites that can link to this form, which we want to keep track of. For instance, where we have advertisements and we want to see, okay, which advertisements bring us the most traffic. So at this point, we would have a variable, and we can put that variable in the form without the user seeing, so that that variable is sent with its value along with all the information, so we can save it, for instance, in the database on the other end in our processing page. So let me show you how to add a hidden variable. Let me click right here. Get a lot more space. That was a double click. Okay, where should we put this? I have found from experience that it's very important where you put it. Depending on browsers, you don't want to put it inside your table. Just put it right before the form ends, this hidden variable. That seems to be the best place here. So input type equals hidden, and name equals, let's call it add link. And value equals, let's say, it was an ad on the city portal. That is a variable that is also going to be sent. We don't see it here, but you can send as many of those variables as you want to keep track of things behind the scenes. So that completes our complex form of all the kinds of form elements that you could have on a form. In the next lecture, we're going to process all of these variables in our processing form file.